The world had always whispered to Arien in ways others could not hear. As a child, he could feel stories traveling through the wind, as if the universe itself breathed secrets into his bones. But on the night the sky shattered into burning veins of red and gold, that whisper turned into a scream. It was a night carved into memory like a scar. When the ground trembled, torches flickered to life on their own, and the sky tore open as though some giant hand had ripped through reality. Arien stood at the edge of the cliff overlooking his village, feeling the weight of something ancient awaken beneath the earth. The people below scrambled in fear as shadows curled like smoke around their homes, and a wave of hot wind pulsed from the mountain heart as if the world itself was exhaling fire. Arien's grandmother had warned him, the flamefall only happens once every 1,000 years, a cosmic omen marking the return of an ancient force buried deep under the mountain's core. But she never told him that the power awakening had been waiting specifically for him. As flames seeped from cracks in the earth, Arien's chest tightened, glowing faintly with the same red light rising from below. He didn't know whether he was chosen or cursed. The people screamed his name, not out of admiration but fear. They could see the ember-like veins spreading from his heart outward, illuminating the night. As the sky rained molten sparks and thunder shook the mountain, Arien stumbled to the ground, clutching his chest as visions attacked him, visions of colossal figures forged from flame, of a world built on fire and ash, of a promise made long before he was born. He convulsed as a deep voice thundered through his mind, "You are the heir of the Ember bloodline." And the Flameheart stirs. When Arien awoke, he found the village half destroyed, homes reduced to embers and smoke swirling through the early morning mist. Survivors stood far from him, clutching spears and fear in their eyes. His childhood friend Lyra was the only one who dared approach him, tears streaking down her soot-covered cheeks. "Arien, it wasn't your fault," she whispered, though even she was trembling. The elders declared him dangerous, a walking omen, and insisted he be exiled before the Flameheart, a mythical being of pure fire, took full control of his body. Arien pleaded to stay, to help rebuild, but the ground still pulsed beneath his feet as though something alive was following him from below. With heavy heart and ashes on his skin, he left the village he'd known his entire life. He journeyed into the Emberwild forest, where trees glowed faintly with embedded fire crystals and the air smelled of char and magic. The further he walked, the louder the whispers in his head became, urging him toward the mountain. Along the way, he encountered creatures warped by the flamefall, ember sprites with molten wings, lava hounds prowling through blackened undergrowth, and phantom-like fire wisps drifting like forgotten souls. Though Arien feared them, they bowed when he passed, recognizing something inside him he did not yet understand. Nights grew colder, days hotter, and his body shifted with each sunrise. Flames licked at his fingers when he grew emotional, and his eyes flickered like burning coal. He stumbled upon ancient ruins hidden beneath glowing vines, carvings telling the story of the Ember bloodline, warriors destined to keep the balance between the living world and the Flameheart beneath the mountain. He discovered that long ago, the Flameheart attempted to rise and consume everything in eternal fire, but was sealed by Arien's ancestors. Now, that seal was cracking, and the Flameheart wanted freedom. Arien was torn between fear of the destruction inside him and the responsibility he never asked for. As he ventured deeper into the Emberwild, a mysterious figure cloaked in obsidian armor ambushed him. Their voice echoed with burning authority, "The Flameheart has awakened because of you. Come willingly, Ember heir, or be consumed like the rest." Arien fought back using the fire running through his veins, unleashing bursts of molten light that surprised even him. But the armored warrior's power was beyond anything he'd seen. They controlled shadow fire, a dark flame that devoured light itself. Arien barely escaped with his life, collapsing beside an ancient fire spring where visions once again danced in his mind, this time showing him the true shape of the Flameheart, a colossal titan made entirely of roaring fire. And then he saw something that shook him deeper than any flame. The Flameheart was chained, weakened, and someone alive, was trying to break those chains. Arien knew then that if he didn't rise to this destiny, the world would burn. The chapter ends with him standing before the smoking entrance of the mountain, heart trembling with both fear and newfound determination. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. "But if the fire wants me, it will learn. I burn on my own terms." And with that, he walked into the mountain's heart, the flames parting around him like bowing spirits. The entrance to the mountain swallowed Arien in darkness lit only by the faint glow pulsing under his skin. The deeper he walked, the more the world around him transformed into a living furnace. Walls rippled like molten glass, rivers of lava twisted like serpents along the ground, and the air thrummed with the pulse of an ancient being struggling to break its chains. Every step he took sent echoes rolling through the cavern, as if the mountain recognized him. At the core, giant obsidian pillars rose into the darkness, carved with runes written in a language of flame that only his blood understood. The runes shifted as he passed, forming warnings, prophecies, and fragments of truth long buried. He could feel the presence of the Flameheart ahead, massive, ancient, and immeasurably powerful. The chamber he entered next was colossal, its ceiling lost in smoke, and at its center stood the titan of fire he had seen in his visions. Bound by chains forged from cooled starlight, the Flameheart's body burned with swirling magma veins, its eyes like supernovas staring straight into Arien's soul. Just seeing it forced him to his knees as heat clawed at his lungs. But the Flameheart was not alone. The obsidian-armored warrior who had attacked him earlier stood beside the titan, their hands placed on the chains, whispering incantations that made the metal crack like thunder. The warrior turned slowly as Arien entered, their mask reflecting the flames like a black mirror. "You came," the warrior said. "Good. I wanted you to witness the end of this world before the new one begins." Arien demanded answers, why they wanted the Flameheart freed. The warrior removed their mask, revealing a scarred woman with ember-red eyes, eyes that reminded Arien of his own when the fire within him rose. "Because this world fears fire," she said. "It cages what it does not understand. We will burn the weak world away and forge a new one where our kind rules without fear." She claimed she was the last of an ancient sect known as the Ashburn, descendants of the first fire wielders who believed the Flameheart was meant to rule, not be sealed. They had waited centuries for someone like Arien, someone whose bloodline could break the final seal. "You are the key," she said. "Join me, and together we will awaken him fully." But Arien saw the truth in the Titan's burning eyes: rage, hunger, destruction. There was no rebuilding under such a being. Only ruin. Arien refused, summoning the fire. Coursing through his veins, flames erupted around him, forming a swirling inferno that illuminated the chamber. The Ashburn warrior answered with shadow fire, their dark flames twisting like serpents through the air. The battle was fierce, fire and shadow colliding in explosions that shook the mountain walls. Lava geysers burst from the ground, and flaming debris rained from above. Every strike weakened the chains binding the Flameheart, and the Titan roared, its voice like a volcano erupting. "You cannot win," the warrior shouted as shadow tendrils wrapped around Arien's throat. Arien's vision blurred, but he remembered his grandmother's words: "Fire is not destruction. Fire is life, if guided by a steady hand." With one final burst of will, Arien channeled his fire inward, focusing all the heat into his heart. The glow inside him blazed white-hot until the shadow fire around him vaporized. Then he released it in a single pulse, an explosion of pure flame that blasted the warrior across the chamber, shattering their armor. The shockwave also cracked the ground beneath the Flameheart, causing the Titan to bellow in pain. The broken warrior fell to their knees, defeated yet smiling. "It doesn't matter. You've already helped break the seal. He will rise." Arien looked up and saw the chains snapping one by one. The Flameheart leaned forward, its towering face inches from Arien, its breath scorching the stone. Arien knew he had a choice: let the Flameheart break free and consume the world, or bind it again, but binding required a life sacrifice. His life. He stepped forward, placing his hand on the Titan's blazing chest. The fire surged into him, threatening to tear him apart, but Arien stood firm. "I won't let you burn the world," he whispered. "I'll carry your fire myself." He invoked the ancient sealing words he had learned from the mountain runes. Flames engulfed him, merging with his body until he burned brighter than the Titan itself. The Flameheart roared, shrinking as Arien absorbed its essence, becoming the new vessel of its power. The mountain trembled violently as the Titan dissolved into pure flame and sank into Arien's heart. When the light finally dimmed, Arien collapsed, smoke curling from his skin. The warrior stared in shock. "You contained him." Arien stood with difficulty, glowing with a new, controlled fire. "I won't let your war happen," he said. The mountain began to collapse, lava rising. The warrior fled into the shadows, shouting, "This is not over, Ember Air." Arien emerged from the mountain as dawn broke, the world quiet and trembling. He carried the Flameheart within him now, its power bound, but its voice whispering faintly. He looked out over the horizon and vowed to use the fire not to destroy, but to protect. And as he began the long journey back to the world he once feared, he whispered to the wind, "This is only the beginning."